Now, the Dallas Cowboys have made another additional hire in this defensive staff, and no, it was not the defensive line coach vacancy that exists. Rather, we brought aboard another coach, and that was Joe Whitt Jr. from the Atlanta Falcons. He will be the Cowboys' new secondary / pass game coordinator. We're going to talk about the hire, how I feel about it, and overall, what I think this means for the Cowboys going forward, from not only the staff, but to possible player acquisition. Now, before we get into it, if you guys could, please make sure to hit the like button. It helps the channel out a lot and makes a massive difference. Also, by all means, please make sure to subscribe if you're new here. About 90% of you guys that are watching are not subscribed, so I recommend you subscribe if you keep coming back and loving the content. Now, also, if you can, make sure to hit the notification bell, because by hitting that notification bell, you'll be notified when I go live or post new content. Now, what's interesting about this hire of Joe Whitt Jr. is that obviously we are, I think, aware of the connections he has not only to Dan Quinn, but also Mike McCarthy. In case you guys have not noticed, he was the Green Bay Packers defensive quality control coach, cornerbacks coach, and defensive passing game coordinator for the Packers from a stretch from 2008 to 2018. So he has had a ton of familiarity with Mike McCarthy. And then in terms of being familiar with Dan Quinn, he was just recently the Atlanta Falcons secondary and passing game coordinator. And obviously that really didn't pan out because clearly, Atlanta just purged that entire coaching staff. But the point is he has familiarity with not only Mike McCarthy, but also Dan Quinn. Now, when it comes to what he has done, obviously people are going to point to Atlanta last year, and they're going to be like, well, they were terrible. Like, they were giving up all those yards. I already talked about the Falcons in terms of their secondary and stuff like that in previous videos regarding Dan Quinn, so if you want to see that, you can go see that. But something I had to look up was I decided to look at another position he had, and that was when he was in Cleveland in 2019. And so when I looked at this information, I decided to go ahead and, do some research to see, okay, what exactly did he do when he had talent and not a bunch of hurt players that he was basically working with backups and other guys. In 2019, Whitt's secondary actually ranked 7th in passing yards, 17th in touchdowns, and 17th in net yards per attempt. That was from Connor Livesay on Twitter, and obviously, I had to fact check this, and this is true. So what's cool about this is that clearly, and if in 2019, the Browns had, quality talent at the, secondary positions of safety and corner. So for me, I believe that if you can get the right guys in here for not only Dan Quinn, but if you want to go for the specific assistant coaches, I do believe the Cowboys can really build on something. Now, another key thing is because you have a guy like him in the room, I think they're going to try and emphasize elite defensive back and safety play and just focusing on getting a quality safety in here. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm taking away from not only the acquisition of Dan Quinn, but with Joe Whitt Jr. And I think that if that's the case, the Cowboys do go after a safety, whether it be in the draft or free agency. I think it's important because the Cowboys have let the safety position just be whatever for the past however many years, and we've had yet to invest in the position thoroughly to where you're not, we're not seeing like these bargain basement guys playing safety, or you're these late round guys. And don't get me wrong, Donovan Wilson's a late round guy and he looks like a solid playmaker. I'm more referring to like the, Xavier Woodses of the world, the J.J. Wilcoxes, stuff like that, and I think J.J. Wilcox was like a 3rd round pick. I don't remember. But the point I'm trying to get at is like you need to invest the talent into that safety position to where you at least have something there. I'm not saying you have to have an all-pro talent at the position. I'm just saying invest in the position somewhat. Put someone there that can play well alongside someone else that plays well, and I think you'll do fine. And I think that's what the Cowboys might do this year. I know that in previous years, especially in the previous administration with Jason Garrett and the guys there, they never really prioritized safety. They tried to play Byron Jones at safety, but he was never really a safety. He was more of a cornerback. So, you know, I think that the Cowboys really need to emphasize that this year, and I think they will. And I think that you might see also with this acquisition and just again knowing the history of not only Joe Whitt Jr. but Dan Quinn, you might see the Cowboys focus on cornerback this draft. I think that as things are starting to piece together, depending on how free agency goes, I'm still set in that safety and cornerback are going to be the biggest things that get addressed in the draft with the first 2, maybe 3 picks. So that's another possibility. But overall, I think that this is a solid hire, especially if you can get these guys the right personnel. Ultimately, it's going to come down to the Cowboys front office to ensure that the right picks are made, but also it's going to be on this coaching staff, guys, because they're going to be a part of this evaluation process to determine which type of guys are going to come in here to help this team out. But when it comes to player acquisition, I'm more referring to free agency other than the draft, because this front office needs to bring guys in here at every single position on the defensive side of the ball to ensure that we have something to lean on rather than us going into the draft needing to hit every single pick or we're screwed. So that means trying to go after a Dalvin Tomlinson, going after guys like that. I'm not too familiar with the cornerback class, and nor am I really paying attention to free agency fully because of how I expect the Cowboys to go about free agency. But most importantly, we don't know who's going to get tagged and signed. So there's that. But I do think that the Cowboys ultimately will bring in some guys, but I don't expect like a big name. I'd be shocked. But hopefully the Cowboys can maybe have a change of heart, but I doubt that. So that's the key thing. I think this hire is solid if they have a vision of what they want to do, but ultimately they need to figure out what they're going to, try and do in this evaluation process, and then the Cowboys front office has to get the players for them. So I don't have much more to talk about. Put down in the comments how you feel about this hire. Is this something to be, excited about? I don't know. That's what you could tell me. I just think that this is a hire that, puts more people in the room of familiarity, and as well as, maybe, someone that's going to emphasize, position, be taking care of this, secondary in terms of the safety and quarterback position. So I'll check you guys out in the next video. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll check you guys out in the next one. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.